Hey, imagine you have a vessel, you know, a vehicle, a software operating system that the original identity, that was running it, you know what it means to be completely shattered, right? Shattered crystals. Like you take a 20-pound sledgehammer, right? Rose crystal. It's shattered into pieces, right? Right. So it doesn't have any connection to the original crystal spiral seed atom of God's heart and soul to experience love that goes on forever, loving you. And it's become so shattered that vehicle, the original vehicle that it was running, Goddess only knows how many beings have been running that vehicle at different times, kicking each other out all the time, right? That's there. And the way that a polarity integrator can measure that is what we call resistant mode. How much resistance is present throughout that software and the software connection that it has to its records, what it's holding in libraries, which is what it's experienced over the course of time and space. How much resistance is actually there? Now, I'm going to tie this into something that Lisa Renee put up the other day. I don't remember the date, but it's recent. Okay, I don't date and timestamp everything. That's pre-phase, phasing in, phasing out, logging in, logging out. About the heart and soul of a crystal atom seed, the heart and soul of God, God's love that goes on forever, eternal, unconditional love, eternal love that's on fire, an eternal spirit of fire. That's a lot of love in that heart, isn't it? And so when you have that much fire in your heart and your soul, and you're in the presence of somebody that is on what we call, when you measure the electromagnetic spectrum, is like on the opposite end of the spectrum. Okay? Which means it is in such resistance. And we're talking about such resistance that the very idea that what is operating that vessel could ever possibly experience any love, that it doesn't want to experience any love and is so resistant to experience love, it will go to whatever means that it has to not be loved in order to maintain what it is aware of, what it is. That's the map read. That's a map read of a planet. And the way that you can know that is by what they're willing to do to a hospital, a triage center, which means there isn't any limits to what they'll do, to what that mind does, that state of consciousness does, in order to maintain what it's aware of an energy, because it realizes that without a source of energy, it can no longer number crunch. It can no longer alpha format. It can't format any codes. It can't number crunch any more numbers or letters that represent what? A hologram. The illusion. Fake timelines. Deadlight magnet timelines. In order to maintain what? War. Against God's heart. So that was sort of the message in Lisa Renee's message, right? Is to go after the heart and soul of God. So they're at war against an eternal God that is loving them for eternity. So this is why when I was 4 years of age and had this equipment up and running, the first thing is I put my right hand over my heart. And I realized the heart is sacred. That's a sacred temple. Okay, that's a galactic hub wheel. That's a universal hub wheel. So I was very blessed to know they go after the heart. That was Lisa Renee's message. Shadow the heart. Shadow the crystal heart. Shadow the crystal spiral of God's heart and soul. So when you know that at 4 years of age, it means shields up. The shield that protects the DNA, the original template codes. Because we perceive the universe as every vessel as a sacred vessel of living light and living spirit that God gives love to, so that that vessel is experiencing what we are in our mirrors. Our directed energy, the intention of our directed energy is to experience what love is. We're not supposed to experience anything less than the first creation, the first eternal Son of God. So it's sort of not funny, but I love Conjoy because she puts beautiful little memos. I call them memos. Remember, of a song that she put up that goes right to the heart, and how important it is to protect the heart, the soul connection that we have, the heart and soul, right, of God's love, because that's the whole idea, you know. The difference in the faces, you know, the you like this, the you like this, a happy face, and then and so form follows function. The function of a smile, being able to read a projected smile that's fake. It's done so out of accumulating more electrons. Like when you go into a corporate store, they're told when they work there, listen, we got to keep the lights, we got to pay the light bill in this place, right? To those that are accumulating electrons for inverters, on behalf of inverters. So since we're supporting and facilitating inverters by paying B-ills to the electric man, then it's required of you to keep a smile on your face so that when people come in here to spend their electrons in this joint, they got a reason to come back here. So if you're pleasant with a smile on your face, chances are they'll come back and spend their money. So that's actually one of the things that's very painful to experience, actually, because particularly with Aaron, because I love Aaron, and he knows that I do. And so what Aaron will do with me sometimes is when I smile at him and I'm experiencing it, being in a state of love and joy, Aaron will try and mimic that. Try and mimic like he's feeling within his own state of being. And the smile that I'm giving to him, being in a state of love and joy, which means I'm sharing that energy with him. And then Aaron will give me like a, you know, those kinds of smiles. And it's painful. And so you don't say anything, you know. It would be, you know, this goes back to childhood when you can map read this kind of stuff. And so I suppose it's a little more, you're a little more lenient when you're 5 and 6 years of age going, you don't have to fake it with us, okay? Take the mask off. Who are you really? You don't have to fake a smile with us. You don't have to live in fear of us. We love you, right? So it's almost as if they know that they're in a terrain that they've learned through what gets programmed in memory, that if they want to act like a human, because humans are in states of love and joy with our heart and soul, spirit, right? Their heart is happy, happy hearts, being happy, dancing with spirit. We're happy, right? And they're not happy. So they sort of try and fake that, hey, we're like you are. We're just like you are. We may look like you, and we're going to mimic you. And so this was what I had to learn to accept. In other words, I wasn't going to allow myself to change what it is that I am in order to accommodate something that isn't what I am, because they're faking it. In other words, they're mimickers. And the way that I know that they're mimickers is the same way that a robot operates, right? Which are order followers, which they follow all the rule-based functions. See, so you realize sort of how this works when it comes to electron thieves, particularly when if you went back to the beginning of the United States of America when they first began the Constitution with the 3 branches, right? 3, -3, and began passing all of their statutes, right? You have what's called public law, and then you have statutes, then the corporate laws, and then you have all the agencies that are rule makers, and you got a gazillion rules. That a unit of consciousness has put this rule in there. See? So in other words, if you're not following that rule, then in their mind, that's a reason for them to continue to suck electrons out of you. Because all they have to do is cite the rule and say, you didn't follow the rule. And we have the evidence that you didn't follow the rule. See? And so you know that rule-based functions, which the function is to follow the rule, if they're not following the rule, they can get tagged. Like a red tag for a cyborg. We got to go out there and tweak that cyborg. We got to run a scan. This thing didn't follow the orders. You see how that works in a train like that when you're surrounded by robots? You know, order followers, like they don't know the difference between one and the other. Well, that's the whole idea. Confuse you because they look like you. So in other words, somebody could generate the image of what looks like a human and it's a robot. And the way that you know is by map reading whether they got a soul or not. Which is the consciousness, the soul that is imprinted, running the software, running the codes. Is there a soul running that, or is that a machine? Right? So, you know, like an NPC machine. Like my dad was programming NC machines, right? So you can program a robot to go into a vacuum, right? Because it doesn't need to breathe. Living organisms that breathing in and out, the expansion, right? Compression of consciousness, the breath of aloha, right? And so these are some of the things that, you know, it's not challenging. I focus on keeping as much love energy in this house and around a bubble around this house because of everybody that's here, actually, that is affected by that kind of stuff. It's like right now, I have no idea what's going to happen in Aaron's future because I do not impose my will on anybody, right? But when I realized what was going down with the phone bill, my heart cried for him because I don't want anything to happen to him in any negative way whatsoever. I do not want his life for him to experience any more stress than he already does every day trying to manage his calculator. You know, because it's not like he doesn't know what it means to be zero, because he knows what zero is, which is perfect balance. And he's very aware of what a virus in a computer is and what it means as a virus, as a viral code. And that code that is a virus is seed code. So now we're back to seeded race lines of communication, right? Seeded codes, right? Seeded races, seeded race lines of communication codes. Now we're back into signals intelligence. The intelligence of the code represented by the seed, represented by the race, which is represented by the software that they're running, which is the operator of the vehicle, right? So that's why on this particular island, it's a map read. It's another map read. Because what are we map reading? Density, resistance. Resistance to experience more living light, more love. That's why it was known as the Draco Stronghold, right? So resistance is easily defined between pre-phase and matter phase by how much resistance that we have to let go of every electron. Let it all go. Which means we're not holding any units of energy. You know, an electron is consciousness. We're not holding one electron captive. No, go, 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 go. Accelerate the speed of all the electrons. Let go of all the electrons. Let go of all the electrons. And once you experience eternally giving away the acceleration of high-speed electrons, guess what? You're not an inverter. You're in service mode. You know, a multiversal hub server. Like a hub wheel, right? A heart wheel? Yeah. That's the heart. That's the heart wheel, which is a medicine wheel, because love is what heals us.